Welcome to Absurdly Nerd. This is our recap and review of The Last of Us season finale.
It's over with.
I know. I can't believe we got here. It feels like it happened so fast.
It was a fast season.
Yeah. I mean, 9 episodes. I think it's a good length. I want to say that off the top. I will
say around episode 5, I was like, there's no way they fit this game into 9 episodes.
Yeah, but after the last episode, like if you start analyzing the game, you're like, oh yeah, definitely.
You can see the breaks, yeah.
Right, you got to take the gameplay out of it, and that's really the difference. Be sure to stay around until the end. We're going to review the whole season as a whole, so stick around for that. But we're going to start out with exposition, and I think this exposition added the most to it, like because a lot of these things, these pieces at the beginning of each episode, is stuff we didn't see in the game.
Yeah,
like they use that time to flesh out the world. And seeing Ellie's mom, Ashley Johnson, did a great job.
Oh, it was so good.
It was so good. And this was the most emotional of these scenes to me. Like, man, it got me, like seeing the baby and everything, and knowing the situation with her being bit was a gut-wrenching moment. You know,
handled it so well, like as well as you could. But yeah. I love getting that scene because it was all brand new for us, and it just explains why she's immune.
Yeah,
in a roundabout way of not forcing it, like. This is why she, you know.
Yeah, it was all natural. It all happened really naturally. I was worried because, like, I'm the fan that wanted it to just be straight up the game. You know, I didn't, like, even the DLC stuff I didn't play. So I was a little, taken aback on that where I was like, don't break from what I know.
Yeah.
And so, like, when I heard that she was going to be in there being her mom, I was like, her mom's not in the game. Like, this is going to be, freewheeling.
Rumored DLC for 2.
Yeah, I remember hearing that.
But, I mean, it's scratchy. I think this, I don't know, this is probably not what they was going to be.
Right.
But some form of this, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I could have seen them letting you play as her in that moment, be a short thing. But I think this added the most to the show. Like, it couldn't have been missing, in my opinion, after having seen it.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine it not being there in the show because it really shows you why Ellie is the way she is. Like, she came, like, literally at birth, was born into this terrible situation. Yeah. Seeing the Marlene stuff, you sympathize with her, like her showing up there and having to kill her friend like that. I was like, when she acted like she wasn't going to kill her, I was like, dude, freaking shoot her. Like, don't let her.
At least send somebody in there.
Right. Yeah. I still would have done that. I would have sent the guy that didn't know her in there to do the job. But man, big props to them for using a real baby. That had to have been really tough to maneuver, but that's why the emotion was so strong because it was a real baby.
It was a real scene.
Yeah, exactly. It was a real baby reacting to things and crying. And, like that added the emotion that you don't get in a lot of these shows that use a prop or a kid that's obviously not a newborn. Like there's a lot of that in these shows. But yeah, that moment started the show off in such a strong way. Mm-hmm. Where did it cut to after that? Then walking on the on the overpass?
Yeah, overpass. They go down to the underpass this time.
Thank God. That's the worst part of the entire game.
Drug it down.
Yeah, like I love this game. It's a 10 out of 10, but that's the only knock I have on it is like it's trying to be longer at the end.
It was that video game thing of now we're going to throw everything we got right at the end. Like,
exactly, clickers and like all of the different enemy types into one area in the underpass, and it was just frustrating. It was just a big break in it.
You knew at that point you were so close to the end. And I just want to see how this plays out. And so I'm glad they skipped that part.
I am curious if there's people out there that are like mad that stuff like that is left out, like these sections that I feel like there are going to be comments on people making content about this, that was something that should have been in the show, like the underpass, this is iconic location. I'm like, not for me, but other people took it differently.
I'm okay with the show sticking to the conversations and bigger plot points. And we can kind of just use our imagination that they had these fights off screen and like, just so it keeps us from having to watch the same little action bits over and over. Because I think when they use action, it's so much better for it because we hardly see it in the show. So when they do it, it feels like, holy shit, something's going down.
Yeah. But I will say, like we talked about it a little bit during it, like there's not many zombies in this whole season. We'll talk about that more at the end when we review the whole season. But there was only one zombie in this episode, and it was the beginning, the one that bit Ellie's mom. I mean, I don't know if it's a problem for me, but it is kind of odd. Like, because they removed that entire section that's where the bulk of it was in the back end of the game was that underpass stuff. And so like you just get all this conflict with the fireflies. You get plenty of action in this episode, but like I don't know, it's just kind of odd that is the whole point of this is the pandemic. And so we're not seeing that much of the pandemic, actually.
I love the scene of them two talking on the bridge.
Oh, yeah.
But so much emotion in that. The whole story of him almost shooting him, wanting to shoot himself.
Oh, at the camp? Yeah. They had gotten there and they had seen the giraffe at that point.
Had they already seen it?
Yeah, they saw the giraffe and then they moved into the camp was out there in the opening there. Yeah, the giraffe moment was really good.
Yeah, we'll go to the giraffe moment then because was that a real giraffe or was that CG?
That was CG.
Really?
I mean, it was a really good CG.
It was really
giraffe,
good,
but
yeah.
It was definitely CG.
Because I noticed the baboons in episode 6. What like you could tell those were CG.
And like in a distance, they looked really good, but when they showed them in the room, it wasn't as good.
But the giraffe was really good. I thought it was real.
Yeah, I'll say some of the CG in this. Some of it's really good, but then sometimes you can tell they're trying to hide it. Like I pointed that out when they're in that camp, they're hiding the background, the skyscrapers being, defunct by blurring the background. And I don't like the effect it gave. They were completely focused on Ellie and Joel, which I get that they're having a conversation, but it was just extremely blurred in the background to the point where I could tell they were on a green screen, But I mean, it's a show, not a movie. It's hard to make that not that way.
I love that the giraffe scene was there because I've always loved that scene because it's just Ellie being a kid and enjoying something that the world is. There's still something left to enjoy in this world.
Yeah.
And I think that is the biggest point of this show.
For sure.
Is there's a reason to keep living.
Yeah, even whenever there's always something to look at in life and be like,
so I'm so glad they got that scene right because it nailed it home.
And I think it's extremely important.
Killed it of switching between being a tough adult and just pure joy of feeding this giraffe.
Being a 14-year-old kid, 13-year-old kid. I think that scene was really important for Joel too. Well, for their connection, because like right after that, you see him basically saying like she's the reason that time doesn't heal all wounds. She did, and so like I feel like that wouldn't have connected as well if you hadn't seen them connect like that in that moment with the giraffe. I mean, this whole show's done that, but it's kind of in a steady stream, And there's some breakneck moments and some breaks that you don't get to see.
Right, there's a lot of time jumps where they bonded through that,
right? And we off screen,
But so to have him say that here, I think it was good. It hammered it home that he does care about Ellie.
Right. I think we'll take it into performance because I think that scene is where it really starts to show like him talking to her. Like I was engaged that entire conversation, and that wasn't in the game, was it?
I don't remember the gunshot part with the suicide attempt.
Yeah,
that for sure. I don't think was it.
No, I don't remember
the whole him. Telling her that she's the reason. I can't remember what that was. I
can't
feel like
remember
I
exactly,
remember it, but
well, I feel like if he was saying the whole thing and that didn't happen, then this is probably new. And I think it's great because it really connects them and it sets up what happens later in the episode.
Explains his reason.
Yeah, I think she did fantastic. I think this was the Joel. Like it was always going to be the Joel episode. And man, Pedro Pascal's so good. Like he is Joel to me.
That was awesome.
I was a little worried before this came out. I was like, I know him so well from other things. Will I be able to see him?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I know Troy Baker as Joel so well too. Yeah. I was worried there would be a disconnect, but at no point did it feel phony. Like he took that character on really well.
Where he's yelling in the hospital, I was like, oh yeah, this is Joel. This is Joel.
Yeah. And I think I'm trying to think of other performance in there. Like Marlene's really good. Because she's mostly a video game actor, isn't she?
I think, she is Marlene in the game, right?
Yeah. I mean, maybe not mostly, but she, she isn't a big time HBO level actor until this. And I think she's going to get a lot more jobs because she's awesome.
She has these scenes just down because she's had
that's true. Yeah, she's been there and she's bringing it to life. I think the performance across the board is really good in this. I do think
even the background characters, none of them stood out as being bad.
Well, I was going to say because we're going to go ahead and progress towards where they're in the hospital, where they've got knocked out by the douchebag fireflies. And those are the only two I can point out. Because that's probably more of a writing thing. It's not that those guys just innately did something wrong as actors.
You really start rooting for Joel and then you don't because that one guy puts the gun down and has his hands up and he's
right. Yeah. I mean,
they do such a good job of making you see every angle of what's going on. Of damn, he didn't need to go that hard, but
but see, I was the guy. You heard me the whole time. Like I was getting so pissed off every time they would hit him with a gun or push him or anything. I'm like, these guys are jackasses. Like screw the fireflies. And then there's the moment where the guy puts the gun down and Joel shoots him. I'm like, okay, I can't really Yeah, I can't do anything about this. I can't argue for him on that one. But I mean, what was he going to do? Trust that this guy isn't going to pick the gun back up? In the moment, I kind of get it, I guess. But
it just shows that he's not stopping. He's
right.
He's going to achieve his mission.
Yeah, for sure. I think they did it all perfectly with that. It lines up really well.
The Last of Us theme playing while he's shooting down the corridor stuff. It was so good.
Yeah.
It was such a good version of that theme.
Yeah, this is perfect for our adaptation section of the video because this did it perfectly without being like gratuitous. Because like this scene goes on easily, right. Like you're in that gunfight for quite a while, and I think they didn't reduce it too much. But they didn't show everything, you know, like you had the gist of, hey, he's killing a lot of people, working his way towards his goal here. I think that was perfect adaptation. This whole episode was mostly shot for shot after the opening.
I love the ladder, the boosting up to get to the ladder.
Yeah. That's I love those little nods, and they did it subtly.
It's not in your face an Easter egg,
right? I think this is the least subtle, nod. Like they said some of the lines that he'll say, like Ellie, I need a hand. Like, I'll boost you up there. Like hear that so many times.
Hitting triangle, like come on,
come on, Ellie. But yeah, I think adaptation. I'll give it a perfect score in this episode. It was spot on. But we'll take it to resolution. We've kind of gotten there talking about the gunfight. When he steps in that room and Abby's dad, I'm gonna go and say it. I don't know if everyone here has played the second game, but a character is connected to the guy.
Right. That was what I was waiting on, is to see how much they're going to set up season 2. And I think they did a good job of keeping it very similar to the first game, of not knowing, not forcing it by, right. Here's why this is going to matter.
Well, we knew there's going to be another season, and they can keep that also well adapted to.
We know what happened, and we didn't need it to. Like,
it would have felt retconned. Yeah, like that's not the way it happened. Like it could be like the next season can start that way. That's fine and all, but I'm glad this is the first game. Leave it to the first
brutal
game.
Kill.
Yeah, I mean, another one of those moments where I'm like, damn, Joe, like that's cold.
That's
like, there's a lot of those here, but he was short lived. That's exactly how it was in the games. Like, I'm not gonna let you take it. Pow, dead. Like,
that's how I reacted every time.
Yeah, I thought they would have gave him a little more there. Like a little.
I liked
more.
That they didn't though. I liked that he's just somebody that
just in the way. That's all it was. He did let the nurses live. So he's a good guy. Joel's a good guy. I've been the guy arguing for Joel being a good guy this whole time.
Confrontation in the parking garage, and I knew where that was going.
Yeah.
I like how they did the flash ahead. Well, I think the game did that too.
Yeah.
The flashback.
You think maybe for a second with him driving, and then you see her. They again perfect adaptation there. Yeah. Man, I love the vibe of when they're walking on the mountain. I'm not going to jump past that because he is explaining to her. But I like the vibe of that too. Her like sniffing out his bullshit. Like she never really buys it. Right. She knows it. And in the car too. And then I don't remember in the game if she does that, like turning away from him and like going back to sleep. But like that moment like really hit me because like he just sacrificed a lot of his humanity to save her. And then like she's mad about it. Like even if it's not like super obvious to him, like he can kind of feel the tension. And that's furthered once they get there and are walking the trail on the mountain, and he's trying so hard to have a normal conversation after this shit happened. This part hit better for me than the game even. Like because of the stories and because of him talking about Sarah and everything, like, and her reactions were better in this than I think they were in the game. Like she was just quiet in the game. She didn't really give him much, but she was still standoffish for sure. But I think this was a really perfect ending to it in terms of them connecting.
It ended just like the game did, and I liked that. Like I'm glad they didn't go further. Like they could have very easily just went on into Jackson and had a real,
they didn't milk it.
A real happy reunion kind of end, but they kept it kind of like the rest of the show, just kind of in the gray.
Yeah, ending it on the black screen is bold because a lot of people hated that.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people were mad that they didn't like do something else. Like, I don't know, it's kind of a Sopranos thing, just like, bow, like, here you go, credits. But I like it. I always liked it, even whenever I first
when the story's over, it's over. And you got to find out. There's never a great place to stop, but there's always this was a great place.
Yeah, this is the best place to stop that you could when you know you're making another game. That's what it made me think about whenever it turned black. I was like, they knew then they were ready to make part 2.
Yeah.
Like they weren't just going to stop on The Last of Us 1. And so many people thought they would. like gamers, fans of the game were like, don't do it. But they knew when they finished that game, they wanted to make another one. But what would you give your grade on this? I'm curious.
On this episode, I would give it an A+.
Yeah, right there. It's perfect.
I think it may be my favorite episode just because it had action, had emotion, had it ended had resolution to all this.
All of the payoff, man. And the emotional payoff of their connection, and every character that was involved in this had a payoff, even if it was negative in the sense of like Marlene and Ellie's mom. Like, I mean,
it could have very easily been a corny shootout.
Right.
It wasn't. It was, they played the music.
Oh, the choreography was fantastic, dude. Like in the shots the cinematography in that scene where he shoots them, and then it's like, it doesn't make you watch it up close, but it'll kind of like he'll be over there and then, like it made it hit harder for me than if they actually just showed it up close.
The way they did the action in this episode and the series, it's just so raw and gritty, but it's not over. Like, it's not gore.
It's not the focus. Yeah. It's like it's just necessary. Yeah. That's really what it feels like. It all just
feels so real.
I definitely give it an A+. But that leads me to the grade for the overall season.
But you got one.
I can't give it an A+ just because I can, like, A+ is reserved for I have zero complaints. Like,
I'm leaning A.
Yeah.
Just for the few complaints I had throughout the show.
Just a few like weird choices.
Yeah. But overall, I think it's up there for my favorite adaptation.
I love Arcane. Like,
that's what I was thinking. Arcane's the other one that is like, I love this a lot too.
I don't know if the viewers have watched it. It's the League of Legends animated series. That's not even a nice way to put it. Like, it's so much better than just an animated series. Yeah. But this is the best adaptation of a story in a video game, because that is like creating its own thing.
Especially a story that I know.
Yeah, that's true. Like, I'm not a League of Legends fan. I just love that show.
Which is that's another compliment for Arcane, is I don't know anything about that show and it still pulled me in. But this show, I like knowing the game pretty much front to back, and watching a show and adding stuff that always felt good.
Yeah,
like this was I don't want to say perfect. It's a really, really, really good adaptation.
Yeah, I try to hold back perfect, but there are aspects of the show that are very perfect. Yeah. I think it ended perfectly, and that is enough for me to be like, man, I can't wait for season 2.
The hospital scene got me so pumped for season 2. Like how crazy that's going to be.
I just wonder how they're going to start it, and I'm sure a lot of viewers are wondering too. But yeah, we loved it. I think if you've watched this whole review series with us, you've kind of known that we were probably going to be really high on it at the end of this. And also, if you've watched this whole series, thank you so much. Like, we're glad to have you here, and we hope to continue to do things like this.
I've enjoyed this a whole lot. I'm ready for another. We haven't decided yet what show we're doing next, but I'm sure we'll do another big show.
Show or movie. Like, we're going to have more reviews like this coming up. We've had multiple people, comment and say they like it, and that was enough to keep me going as far as recording and putting up these reviews. And we hope that continues to grow. But yeah, that'll do it for us here. And until next time, stay nerdy.